Alrighty, beautiful people. I got your watch list coming into April 11th, 2019. And we had the Fed pass up. We got the extension for Brexit till June, which was a surpriser. A lot of those headwinds are out of the way. So now it's risk on event, and we could see that already with some plays, with even some of the futures, how things are going to move. We're going to watch. There's some important stuff to note, with the pound and global stuff, even Bitcoin in China. We're going to pay attention to that, but earnings is going to be the focus. It is the middle of the week has passed. We're coming into Thursday. The options volatility has been very interesting this week, so it's setting up. I want to talk about setting up in earnings. I'm going to talk about an earnings play that I made today, and I'm going to also introduce, I think, 2 more brand new contracts. So I told you guys to watch some of those contracts yesterday. They've been doing their thing. I don't think they had any big winners, at least from the watch list today or yesterday that we posted. The biggest winner was Workday, and I was going to show those options. Those are going to be one you could watch again, but those, I think they did 400% or 500%. So those cloud stocks, if you guys, whoever's been watching those, shout out to you, shout out the chat. So let's get into this. Let's go over the companies. Before I do that, though, you need to drop a like on the video, drop a thumbs up. It supports the channel. Let me know that you like this content, and it'll make sure YouTube lets you see it. But most importantly, I need you to post your watch list. That's the point of these videos. That's the point of the comment section. We're able to source it. You guys could check this in the morning, tomorrow morning. You could check this at night, incorporate it however you wish, but we're going to go over it, and we're going to go over it on stream tomorrow morning. We are live trading market open to close, and we're live 30 minutes before open. It's pinned in the comments. It's in the description, youtube.com/the stock market. I think that's it. No more stuff. You can check out the stock trading boot camp. That's it, but let's get into it. I got the plays on plays, hit it on in there. We're going to get to that, but let's go to the option. I'm going to introduce one random to you guys, but this came up. Someone talked about it on the stream this morning. It earned a spot on the watch list. Spotify. Now, this is going to the example I've been showing you guys, and I said, with these weekly contracts, especially coming into Friday, push the contracts into the wall is what I said. There is the wall of theta. You get to push some contracts into the corner as expiration comes around. So some of these contracts are expensive. They went up today. They went to 30 cents to like $1.40 today. But even the ones close to the money are pretty good. But watch Spotify. It's making a move. It clearly showed it's breaking out today and that it's going to be moving very differently from the S&P. So it had to move in the options. It had a big underlying move. Watch that. See if that continues and watch for the continuation. But beyond that, watch that option. That expensive option could at some point now become cheap, and that could be a very, very good play. So watch out for that. There's Spotify. Another play to watch is the work days, the WDAY. I'd say it applies the same, the ones at the money. But my main one, my favorite one, you could watch the weeklies tomorrow. They're going to come down even more. But mainly the Home Depot. This is a swing trade for next week. Again, I want you guys just to pay attention to this contract, how it values with any of these plays, any of these stock picks, paper trade. If you guys don't know what you're doing, honestly, just study these plays. Most of them are going to lose when we're talking about them, but how the contracts move at specific times is important, and that brings up other plays like Disney and some of the other stocks we've talked about. But watch those Home Depots. It was those 202.05s. I think it was the 205s we're watching. So it's fallen out of the money. It's coming down. It moved very, very weird today with the market, but like a true value stock. So keep your eyes out for that. And then the Baidu. So I picked up more of those. And again, back to the point of explaining, how you guys could study the intricacies of these contracts. This is a great one. If you guys have been on stream, you've seen on this account, I showed you, that was, I think it was one of my last trades right there. I got some more Boeing 400s, but I sold the 185 call for 397. And that call right now is worth 60 or 70 cents. And that was only a few days ago. So I said, watch this contract because it was just up a substantial percentage points. So watch that to either play it again, set up somewhere else on Baidu. I ended up buying more Baidu on the other account today. So I like these. Watch those contracts. I think they're going to be really good. And you guys saw it from my transaction history. I like the Boeings as well. I think the calls are getting super cheap. I'm even going to start sniping for some May ones too. But watch Boeing again. Another down day for 1% is still big for Boeing. So again, You got to see how it levels out and plays there, and if it plays any bounces and the velocity and so forth. But watch those Boeing contracts. But let's get to the main stock. So after hours, Bed Bath & Beyond reported. I think some of you did a play. I stole a YOLO play right at the end for the puts, but I don't think those are going to gain any value. It literally, if you guys have been watching on stream how we've been pricing, the contracts are being priced in almost to the dot on these. So watch that. Watch how it plays out in the morning. I was an idiot. You guys let me get away with it, and I thought it reported yesterday, but it didn't. So there's a report. Watch for the continuation and see how that plays. But that's a good one to watch. Spotify we already brought up, and then this chart I usually bring up Roku. That's going to come up later today, but watch that again. They kind of leveled out the puts. I sold out of the puts this morning. They had a shot, but watch how that plays out. But it's going to come up to the next play with Netflix, but more importantly, Apple. I think Apple has been moving very interesting. I've been waiting for the continuation. This could have one with the options. I'm not going to give you guys a specific option. I might call one out pre-market or right at open with Apple, just because I want to see how it moves in relation to the market and whatnot. But the contracts, the calls, they're down, but the stock has momentum, so it's showing there's a lot of premium. It's going to take a big move to hold those contracts up. So I'm waiting. If there is a drop, I'm waiting for a big premium crush, and there could be a good move on Apple. But even more importantly, what I like even more than Apple is Facebook. We were waiting for the continuation, and we were waiting to see what happened. That failed today, but it did bounce up. So at the end of the day, it didn't drop too much. But I'm gonna wait for that either Thursday or Friday. If that doesn't happen, we could get screwed over. I don't want to get caught chasing it, so I am setting up even some for next week as well. What else do we got? Netflix. And finally, the FANG, out of your fangs. But I love Netflix for earnings. I snagged a put on it today. If it does go up, I might grab more puts. I want to see how they start to value, but the puts are kind of at a floor here. They're going to be the first one to report. I got some time. I got around May. I am going to also look for calls too, but I want to see if it does start to make a move. And again, some of these options could start to make moves and set up for earnings. And like I said, that's the next big thing. Once these risk-off events go out the window, the companies are going to line up for earnings. They will make moves leading up into earnings. The stock could either it's staying the same as a move as well too sometimes. Don't forget that. It's either going to make a big move up coming into earnings. It could go down. I was kind of sensing that with Netflix, so that's why I got the put first. And again, even with the stock going down, I noticed the puts weren't really gaining too big of a premium, so it might take a bigger push and come, as every day inches closer to earnings, that could start to affect the contract. So watch out for that. I like that. Next, it's kind of along the lines of Apple, but Apple's kind of been doing its own thing. But Qualcomm, they dropped heavily today. The contracts are really, really weird. It's a bad risk reward. It's kind of like another company I'm going to bring up today, but it's a good one. It could be a good, decent bellwether if we could figure out what it is. Some people reported some incidents or cases, another patent case with Qualcomm, but watch out for that. Watch how that plays out. But now Qualcomm is going to bring up the good old chip makers. So don't forget to watch the chip makers, specifically NVIDIA. And some people have asked, should you play AMD? It's not that I don't like AMD right now. To all of them, I like Micron. I think Micron's in the middle. AMD, it's going to look exactly the same, but I think Micron's a little bit more stable. But all in all, I'd rather take NVIDIA. NVIDIA is holding up. It seems like it's doing good with some of the cryptocurrency stuff as well. Beyond that, all the other chip companies had bad guidance and they killed it. So NVIDIA is still left to do there. They have some time too on their earnings, but until their earnings, so that's another plus too. They still got some time to move before anything really has to happen, or even before the premium sets in. But again, that could also even be adding to some of the shorter term premium we're watching. But watching the video, I like that. And then here are good old plays that we've been talking about all day. But FedEx, I like FedEx. I'm putting it as a tentative watch, but you got to, if really we need a premium crush, like some people are like, oh, you should have played it today. But the premium really wasn't there to begin with. But again, those Thursday, Fridays could set up some decent opportunities. So FedEx and the value stocks are going to be good ones to look at. Same thing applies for Disney. It dropped today. The contracts went with it. Those were some of those expensive contracts. I think they're still expensive today. So wait on Disney. Let's let that come down a little bit, and that could possibly be a much better play for us. But again, those slower mover type ones. And then, of course, McDonald's. Keep your eyes on McDonald's. It went down today. The market gapped up and the market went up. So it makes a lot of sense why that happened, because it has been acting like a value stock. And I said, Home Depot, that's one of those contracts to watch. It's been operating a little bit similarly too. So it's interesting to see what McDonald's does. So we want to watch that if it does make a breakout. But again, all these contracts, these slow movers, they're going to get cheaper. Like McDonald's is getting really cheap, but FedEx hasn't. So the market could even be indicating, more favor towards, FedEx. But again, here's the best part with the volatility tomorrow, you guys, coming into Thursday, things could change. If the market does, if all the markets are very bullish about all the, the news that came out so far and how everything's playing out, my issue is that the pound didn't move and other things, it could have been gravely pricing all this in to the point we don't even get a reaction, but we'll see. And even if it is a sell the news event, watch out for that. But again, that's those value stocks. So Roku and Square, watch out for those as well. Roku, watch it in relation to Netflix, but let's see if it does decide to make a big move today. It leveled out, and this is what I'm kind of looking for with Boeing, where it's going to have 2 big days down, 2 big moves, and then kind of level out before making a move up or down from there. But watch Roku, Square as well too. Square did great. And watch the banks. Watch Wells Fargo. I sold out of the puts and I switched to some of the calls today. I didn't like how the puts were gaining value or how they lost value when the stock went up. They weren't given that earnings hold. But watch that. Remember, banks are just right around the corner, but Square. So this could be one that leads up into it. I think there's some decent calls for next week. They're right there at the border of between good deal and not. So I'm watching and I'm waiting there, but I like Square a lot. And then lastly, but I have one more after these. JD and Baidu, specifically Baidu. I showed you guys those contracts that I got. I like that the most. JD is another auxiliary play, and despite them being both Chinese stocks, they can move very independent and they're not always going to move like Alibaba. So keep that in mind for those trying to put your finger on them, but they're setting up for big moves. You're seeing they've already moved so much in the past. There's a huge contract premium crush that's taking place. If the bounce resumes or there's hype on either way, that volatility could come right back to it. So those are great contracts to play. I like them. And lastly, Biogen. This is an interesting one. I think you guys should keep this one on watch. I know we already got a few people in the chat. Shout out the chat watching these. So, or watching Biogen at the very least. So keep an eye on that. There's a few contracts. I'm mad I overpaid. It's like I like the 242.50s to the 245s, depending on how Biogen moves. But Regen and some other biotechs did good. So watch out for that. We'll see how it plays out. But that is pretty much it. So I'm going to leave it there, you guys. I love you. Drop a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. And let me see your watch list. And I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.